What happens when an undercover boss walks into his own store and stops cold after hearing what the cashier says? Let's dive in to see how one day can change everything. Mark Evans was not your ordinary CEO. At 45, he was the proud founder of Evans Mart, a chain of convenience stores that had grown rapidly in the past 10 years. His business had started as a single store, a small shop that he managed on his own in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Over time, thanks to his hard work and vision, Evans Mart had expanded into a successful franchise with dozens of locations. But as the business grew, Mark felt more and more disconnected from the day-to-day operations. Reports and numbers were no longer enough for him to truly understand what was happening on the ground. He often wondered if his employees felt valued or if his vision for excellent customer service was being upheld. That's why Mark decided to do something drastic. He disguised himself as a regular worker and planned to visit one of his stores unannounced. He chose the third store he had opened, located in a busy urban area. It was one of his top-performing locations, and he wanted to see for himself what was happening there. Mark wore old jeans, a hoodie, and a baseball cap to conceal his identity. His hair was slightly messy, and he grew out a scruffy beard to complete the look. He wanted to blend in and avoid being recognized. When he entered the store early in the morning, it was already bustling with activity. Customers were browsing the shelves, employees were stocking products, and a faint hum of chatter filled the air. Mark scanned the room, taking in the atmosphere. He introduced himself to the store manager, Joe, as Mike, a temporary worker assigned by headquarters to help with stocking and organizing. Joe, a middle-aged man with a kind face, welcomed him warmly and quickly put him to work stacking shelves near the front of the store. Mark's plan was simple: observe, interact, and listen. While working, Mark noticed the cashier, a young man named Ryan, who looked to be in his early 20s. Ryan was cheerful and greeted every customer with a smile. He seemed to know many of the regulars by name, asking them about their families or their day. Mark was impressed by Ryan's enthusiasm and his ability to connect with people. But then, as Mark was organizing some boxes near the counter, he overheard a conversation between Ryan and a customer. The customer, an elderly man in a worn-out jacket, was purchasing a small loaf of bread and a carton of milk. Ryan looked at the man and said, "Mr. Thompson, don't worry about the total today. It's on me." The old man hesitated. "Ryan, I can't keep letting you do this. You'll get in trouble." Ryan smiled and whispered, "It's fine. I've got this." The man thanked him quietly and left. Mark couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. Why would a cashier pay out of his pocket for a customer? He decided to keep watching Ryan closely. Over the next few hours, Mark noticed Ryan quietly helping several customers in need. He would cover small bills, give discounts, or even pack extra items in their bags without charging them. At the end of the shift, Mark couldn't contain his curiosity anymore. He approached Ryan in the break room and introduced himself as Mike, still pretending to be a temporary worker. "Hey Ryan," Mark said, "I noticed you helping a lot of people today. Why do you do it?" Ryan looked surprised but answered honestly, "Mike, some of the people who come here are really struggling. Mr. Thompson, the man you saw earlier, lost his wife recently and is barely making ends meet. And there's this single dad who comes in with his kids. Sometimes they can't afford everything. I just try to help where I can. It's not much, but it makes a difference." Mark felt a lump in his throat. Here was a young man earning a modest salary, going out of his way to support others. He wanted to ask more, but decided to leave it for now. The next day, Mark arrived early again and continued working undercover. This time, he struck up conversations with other employees. One of them, an older stockroom worker named Bill, shared something that shook Mark to his core. "You know Ryan?" Bill said. "That kid has a tough life. His dad passed away when he was a teenager, and he's been working odd jobs to support his younger brother ever since. He barely takes a day off, even when he's sick. He's a good kid, but I worry about him. He's always giving to others, but I don't think anyone's looking out for him." Mark was stunned. Ryan, who seemed so full of life and energy, was carrying such a heavy burden. On the third day, Mark decided it was time to reveal his identity. After the store closed, he gathered the entire team for a meeting. Standing in front of them, he removed his cap and hoodie. "Hi, everyone," he began. "I'm Mark Evans, the CEO of Evans Mart." The room went silent. Ryan looked especially shocked. "I've been working here undercover for the past few days," Mark continued. "I wanted to see firsthand what's happening in my stores, and I have to say, this has been an eye-opening experience." He turned to Ryan. "Ryan, your kindness and generosity have inspired me. You go above and beyond for our customers, even when you don't have to. I've seen how much you care, and I want you to know it hasn't gone unnoticed." Mark then announced that Ryan would be promoted to a management position with a significant raise. Additionally, Mark offered to pay for Ryan's brother's education and set up a fund to support employees in need across all Evans Mart locations. Ryan was overwhelmed with gratitude. He thanked Mark, but insisted that he didn't help people to get anything in return. Mark smiled and replied, "That's exactly why you deserve it." From that day forward, the store became a model for other Evans Mart locations. Employees felt more motivated, customers felt valued, and Mark made it a point to visit his stores regularly. In the end, one undercover visit changed not only Mark's perspective, but also the lives of the people he met. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.